This is the Light Lens Lab 35mm f2. It is basically as close of a reproduction to the classic version 1 35 Summicron 8 element as you can get. And oh yeah, it's brand new. Now, for disclosures, I actually reached out to Light Lens Lab because the first time I saw one of these things just pop up in like a used forum, I was like, what? Huh? What is this? Like, I've never seen this before, which then put me down a journey to go and research these lenses and their development and what they're doing and why they're doing it, all that kind of stuff. I've also watched videos from Ted Forbes and Bobby Tonelli on these lenses, so definitely check those out if you haven't already as well. But I reached out to them asking if they would be willing to send me a review copy because yes, I am a wedding photographer, and so I really like having nice sharp lenses. But also there is something about shooting film and stuff that I start to miss a little bit when I'm shooting on a 60 megapixel camera and a bunch of modern glass. So I thought I'd try this thing out, and they were kind enough to send this over, but this isn't paid or anything like that. But with all that to say, let's jump into it. So the first thing that you'll notice if you get this in is that the packaging is amazing. It also comes with a leather case like this, like you see in a lot of Leica lenses. I will say that this case is much larger than all of the other Leica ones that I have, but I will also say that it is very, very nice to travel with. So anytime I'm sticking one of my Leica lenses in a bag to go on an airplane or something, it's definitely going in one of these cases. So really, really nice with that. And then this thing is just a absolute tank. It is made of brass. Obviously you have 8 elements, but they are using lead and land something infused glass to really harken back to getting those exact kind of colors and tones and things from the original lenses. And it both just like looks and feels incredible on my Leica cameras. It is incredibly small. So if you see, how big it is, obviously very, very small. I'm assuming the same size as the original Summicrons, but everything else about it is just fantastic. The feel, the smoothness of the focus ring here. It does have a focus lock at infinity, but it's really, really easy. Just nice little push tab in the focusing tab here. It might actually be the best feeling lens that I have ever used. Now I have the black paint version and it doesn't exactly match with my M11, but looks really, really good on here. It's not like a high gloss kind of black paint finish. It's a little bit more matte than even say this Voigtlander Ultron here. Obviously just works really, really well with the Leica system, clearly, because it is an homage to that original lens. Now, this isn't my normal kind of setup for film here. I really like the Nocton and how small it is. It's also a very sharp lens and gives you some character. But two things out of here. First of all, I wanted to say that this square hood actually fits on the Nocton. So I'll put a link below if you're interested. I think it looks really cool on this and gives it kind of a more modern Summicron kind of feel. But also, I wanted to test the Light Lens Lab here on both film and digital. And while I think that, it's great on digital for sure, I think that it really is going to sing more on film. At least that was my concept here. So my family went on a little trip last weekend and I brought my M6 and put the Light Lens Lab 35mm 8 element on it. I shot one roll of Portrait 400 and I was pretty excited about how the images turned out. goes, obviously, when you're looking at the images, this thing is a single coated lens. It's going to flare like crazy. So in these video samples that I shot with the Lumix S5 II, just like flare absolutely for days. So if you are thinking about picking this lens up and you want to be able to control the flare a little bit, I would either do one of two things. I would adapt this maybe to something else. I would definitely be checking on live view if you're going to be using something like the M10, M11, M240, and just kind of seeing what that is going to be looking like. I also would definitely be looking to invest in some sort of lens hood for this, because while the flares are really cool, and I really love being able to play with them and find the perfect spot for them, if you're going to be shooting it specifically on film, definitely pick up some sort of lens hood. Obviously, it's not going to eliminate everything, but it's definitely going to help some of the random stuff that might be coming in that you're not aware of, and you definitely can't see what the flare is going to look like on a film camera. Now, this lens is not going to be the sharpest lens. It's not supposed to be. It's not meant to be, anything like that. But I do think that it has enough sharpness that I wasn't disappointed in the performance, if that makes sense. So it has a really, really cool look to it. I think it seems a little bit sharper even than a lot of the images I'm seeing from the new 35mm Summilux steel rim, but they're kind of going after a similar demographic of person that is going to want a vintage feeling lens, a vintage feeling image. Now, the way I shot this was I shot it basically only at either f2 wide open or at f5.6. At f5.6, you're getting pretty decent sharpness out of this thing. It still has a little bit of a vintage character to it, especially on film, which I really, really enjoyed. And then wide open, you can see that the bokeh swirls a little bit. It seems like the plane of focus isn't exactly flat everywhere, but it is a really, really cool look, especially on film. And on digital, it is surprisingly sharp and performs surprisingly well. It's not perfect. You're not going to be getting like Apo quality out of this thing or anything like that. But for a standard kind of walk around lens, I think it looks really, really cool. I definitely really liked putting the images into black and white and seeing what that looked like. And if you're someone that has a slew of lenses that are all just really well performing, I would definitely consider giving this a try. I believe the current price of this is around like $1,100, something like that. So it's not an expensive lens, but it's not a cheap lens either. And for the build quality, the experience of using it, and the fact that they've just done such a good job of sort of replicating that original look and feel of the 8-element from Leica. I don't know. I was just really, really impressed by this. My expectations were kind of mid, and I was, again, just really, really impressed by how well this thing performed and how much I really ended up liking the images out of it. So if you're interested in checking this thing out, I'll have a link in the description down below. Again, thanks to Light Lens Lab for sending this out. It's going to probably live on my M6 for a decent amount of time here. Drop any questions you might have in the comments down below, and I will see you all on the next one.